Good morning, Jack. How are you? And I hope your listeners are doing well.
Well, thank you. I think I don't mean to guess this, but I'd probably predict you're in a pretty good mood this morning because many of our regular contributors, these analysts who do this very, very well, and I think they do it pretty objectively, say that Senator Hassan did not have a terrific night last night. If her goal was to exude confidence and I guess specifics on running again or why she's running again or should be reelected, they said you did better than good and did what you had to do. Is that how you feel this morning?
Well, that's exactly how we feel, and that was the game plan. We knew she would go in and give the classic career politician, Washington, D.C. Responses, not answers, but responses, and only when asked directly with the word inflation, border, supply chain, gas prices, education, fentanyl ever come up in the conversation. Yet she never really answered any of the questions. I called her out on that because that was exactly what needed to be done. She has not been out on the ground campaigning in the traditional New Hampshire bottom-up way, that grassroots way like we have. 76 town halls. We understand what Granite Staters are going through, and that's exactly what I wanted to communicate to Granite Staters, that I will go to Washington, D.C. as an outsider and work for you to improve your livelihood and the future of your children and grandchildren.
I know it's not your job to do, but on the morning after this debate, and some would say debates matter, I think they're an important part of the process. Michael Graham, New Hampshire Journal, thinks you won this debate. My question is, if you were looking at your opponent, Senator Hassan, what do you think she did wrong last night? I'm being candid. What do you think she could have done that would have been more effective if you were in her camp? What do you think she failed to do last night in a nutshell?
Well, I think she failed to inspire people. I think she failed to tell people, give them the answers to the question and how to bring down the inflation and skyrocketing interest rates and why people are going to choose between heating and eating and why the Eversource CEO had to write an appeal to Joe Biden and she didn't write an appeal to Joe Biden. I mean, she failed to deliver on all those things. And she didn't even look like she wanted to be there. She looked like she had, her facial expressions looked like she wanted to be somewhere else. There was no other place I wanted to be last night than standing by her, doing a debate, talking to Granite Staters, and earning their trust and confidence to be their next United States Senator.
Let me ask you this, Don Bolduc. I don't want to keep you. I know you probably didn't get much sleep. But a former governor this morning talked to me, and I won't say which one, but a former governor here in New Hampshire. He had an interesting comment. He said the Hassan campaign has probably spent $40 or $50 million trying to brand Don Bolduc as an extremist, out of touch. And he said if you were watching last night for an hour on television where you can see and hear, if you were looking for Don Bolduc to be an extremist, you didn't catch that moment at all. It never came out. Do you feel that way or not?
Yes, of course I feel that way. I'm not an extremist. I'm a guy who is going through the same things that everybody else is going through with inflation and everything else. Not to the extent that many that I meet are going through, but it's just that's just a stone's throw away. It's coming. And it's coming to a lot of people that don't feel it right now as much as others. But, I'm not an extremist. I'm a pragmatic person with a lot of energy and somebody that wants to help people. And I prove that. And I feel for the moms that want better education and want to be able to provide the necessities to their children and want to make sure that their children have everything that they need. And that's just not happening right now, Jack. And so she didn't make her case. I don't even know what her definition is because no one ever challenges her on the definition of that, because my background as a police officer and a 33 and a half year military veteran and a veteran advocate in retirement and a college professor is not anywhere near extremism.
Does she still win Tuesday with all that money and incumbency? Does she still win this race?
No, it's going to be a big upset. we won with less than $500,000 in the primary. I've raised $2 million since the primary, which is pretty good. But that's because grassroots came, to our assistance. We got a lot of help from the outside for ads. That doesn't directly go to me. That goes directly to ads, and that's all good. We're going to win, and we're going to win because people don't want career politicians who are working for special interests and lobbyists and the wealthy political elite. They want an outsider who is accessible and has proven by their work ethic, by hard work, to get out there and work for them campaigning, because that translates to what you're going to do in Washington, D.C.
You listen to Don Bolduc, Republican nominee in the U.S. Senate. Before we let you go, some of our listeners are just asking me to ask you, because I do not know about this, sir. Was there a skirmish before or outside the debate with you last night? I guess there was something in the New Hampshire Journal, but was there some kind of a physical skirmish? Did someone attack you, or is that sort of not true?
Well, I'd say somebody tried to attack me. When I got there and saw all the, supporters, got out of my vehicle, I went over, I shook everybody's hands. That's what I do. I work for them, and I wanted them to understand that they're going to spend a couple hours out in the cold waiting for me to show up for a debate. I'm going to go out there and shake their hands. Well, this guy was on the sidewalk and, giving me, rude gestures and swearing at me and calling me a war criminal and all this other stuff. The police were right there. And as I was, working the crowd, he decided to step off the sidewalk and aggressively approach me. The police were right there. I thanked them very much for their reaction. I got, I think a slight grazing from the whole thing, but it wasn't a big deal. And I don't want it to be a big deal because I don't want it to eclipse what happened in that debate and eclipse what needs to go on Tuesday, and that's vote Maggie Hassan out of office.
All right, I appreciate it. And again, Don Bolduc, I guess the next few days we'll see. Tuesday, the vote. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, New Hampshire. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack, and God bless you and your listeners.